Hello everybody and welcome to Kozibear's Cooking, the most audacious cooking show on the internet. It's season 3 of Kozibear's Cooking, which means that for some 10 odd weeks, no longer 12 because I decided to switch around the scheduling, I'm coming to you live with 10, no longer 12, fantastically unique dishes for your eyeballs and ear holes to enjoy and my mouth to savor. If you're not currently doing so already, you can catch the show live every Sunday at 4 p.m. EST up until April 10th, excluding next Sunday because I'm going to be taking a break that weekend to catch up on stuff at our family cottage. You can also give back to the show by following, subscribing, donating to the channel. Doing so will earn you my eternal gratitude, as well as a few spins from the prize wheel of causality right over here. Today, we are going to be making a full course meal. We're going to be making what Greg Miller of Kinda Funny considers the most impressive dinner of all time. It's a nice stir fry that consists of hot sausages, chicken, and a whole host of delicious flavor enhancing ingredients. We're going to be making some broccoli on the side so that we have a little bit of greens to eat as well. And then finally, to close things out, we are going to be consulting our good old holiday cookies cookbook to make some Kinda Funny themed cookies, which will go on the side and be enjoyed plentifully for dessert. Before we get into the main course of tonight's meal, I figured that it probably wouldn't hurt to get people indoctrinated into exactly what they can expect out of the most impressive dinner of all time from one Greg Miller. So let's cue up a quick little video clip.
On today's menu, literally one of the favorite dishes I cook. It is Spanish chicken thighs with chorizo, and they also toss in rosemary and lemon, and but it's the Spanish chicken thigh chorizo dish I always talk about. And Nick, you might ask me, how good is this?
How good is this?
This meal is so good that when I first started making it, I then went out and bought this extremely overly sized, large, it's just absurd cast iron skillet, so I can make all 8 chicken thighs at once. First, we're gonna chop up an onion. Now you might say, Greg, you hate onions. I do. But this recipe from Rachel Ray Every Day, again, the Bible, written by the Messiah of cooking, Rachel Ray. It calls for it, and it's one of those, who am I to go against Rachel Ray on this one?
And that's a clip. I was a little bit slow on the gun there. I knew that the video clip was going to end around that point, but alas, I didn't click it quite in time. So here's how things are going to work. First things first, we're actually going to prepare the cookie dough because the cookie dough needs to be refrigerated for a bit before we can properly use it. After the cookie dough has gotten to the point where we need to refrigerate it, we're going to work a little bit on Greg Miller / Rachel Ray's chicken dish. And then towards the end of the chicken dish, when we have to put it in the oven for a little bit, we'll switch over to working on our broccoli, and we will figure out, actually, hold on, got that a little bit confused. While we're working on the chicken dish on the stove, we'll cook our cookies in the oven. When the cookies come out of the oven, we'll transition and put the Rachel Ray dish in the oven. We'll work on some broccolis on the stove on the same time. And yeah, everything will hopefully work out. Hello, Crisp Bacony. Greg Miller, he is a internet personality, for a lack of a better term, that works for a YouTube channel called Kinda Funny. He did a limited run series at one point called Cooking with Greggy, in which he made a variety of dishes, like the one that you might have seen a moment ago. And I've made a couple of his dishes on this channel in the past. That's the TLDR and who he is. Thank you, Crisp Bacon, for coming in. Hold on, Crisp Bacony. I won't make that mistake again, for tuning in. Before we get to work on our cookie dough, let's go ahead and give our hands a quick little wash. Just make sure that they're nice and clean before we begin to work on the doughs. The plan for this evening is that we're going to be making 2 different types of cookies, some that are vanilla and some that are chocolate. And the reason for that is that we're going to be putting frostings on the cookies. Some of the frostings will be white, the other frostings will be blue and dark blue. And so I figured that the blue and dark blue ones would contrast well with the vanilla cookies, while the white frosting would contrast well with the chocolate cookies. Okay, well, I had no idea there was an internet personality called Greg Miller. He previously, before co-founding Kind of Funny, the YouTube channel, he actually used to work for IGN. That's sort of where he built up his kind of internet cachet. That's your TTRPG character's name. Well, that's a weird coincidence. The first recipe that we're going to be consulting today is this recipe, black and white sandwich cookies from the Holiday Cookies Cookbook. We are not going to be making these into sandwiches. We're just going to be making the cookie parts. To make our cookies, we are going to need 1 1/4 cups of unsalted butter that has been softened, 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1 egg, 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour divided, and 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. So that's the basic plan. Without further ado, let's get right into this. Step number 1, for cookies, beat 1 1/4 cups of butter and superfine sugar in a large bowl with an electric mixer until creamy. Beat in the egg, vanilla, and salt until well blended. Gradually add 2 cups of flour at low speed, beating until just blended. All right, well, first things first, let's go ahead and let's get our butter out of the fridge. One of these sticks of butter automatically has 1.5 cups of butter inside of it. So what we're gonna do, real simple, is we're gonna cut it in half. And then from there, we need 1/4. So we're gonna cut that additional half into 1/4. Give me a second. Just noticed that the fridge door is open. Let's bring the counter view in. There we go. Okay. There we go. So we have right here our 1/2 cup. No, our full cup. Again, confused. These two together are each a cup, so this makes a total of 2 cups. I have a cup right here. We need to get 1/4 cup next. Okay. All right. Each of these, 1/2 cup. And so we cut this in half and voila. We have ourselves 1/4 cup, which means that the rest of this stuff can go back in the fridge. All right. So the recipe calls for the butter to be slightly softened. Here's what I'm gonna do. We don't need to melt the butter, but I am gonna put it inside of a microwave safe bowl, and I'm just gonna microwave it for like 10 seconds. Not a lot, just like 10 or so seconds so that it gets ever slightly softened, and we'll be able to go from there. All right. Let's put this thing in the microwave. And 11 seconds, we go. I know I said 10 earlier, but I figure we might as well do 11. We're gonna need to use a stand mixer, right? Let's get that out. Let's see. There's number 1, number 2, and the mixer should be in here. Here we go. There's a lot of stuff on the counter in preparation for the stream. I have to move some of it out of the way. There we go. Still feels like the butter is a little bit on the firm side. I'm just gonna put it in the microwave for another 11 seconds. Okay. all that's happening, I'm just going to measure out the sugar. We need 3/4 of a cup of the stuff. Could use just a skosh more. I like saying the word skosh, by the way. In case you didn't know, it was actually brought over to America from Japan. The original Japanese word for skosh is skoshi, and it means a few, like how we use it in the English language. I believe it was brought over by like American GIs that were stationed in Japan after the war. Yeah, this butter has been nicely softened, so we're going to put that in there. There's a little bit of butter at the bottom of the bowl that melted ever so slightly, so I'm going to put that in there. All right, and I will put this bowl over here. Perhaps we'll find a yeast for it later on. All right, well, without further ado, let's begin mixing this up. We're going to start real slow on the lowest possible setting, like such. There we go. I think we managed to do a good job of softening up the butter ahead of time. All right, well that's pretty well mixed up. The only problem is that right now, there's a lot of butter, as you can see, that's stuck to the spin-em-a-bob things. So we gotta get that off of them. Just a quick second. We'll be reusing these blades to mix up the rest of the ingredients, so any excess butter and sugar that's still stuck to them right now will eventually be incorporated into the mix, but just want to get as much of it as I can off of them right now. Okay, and there we go. All right, let's go ahead and let's reattach these thingamaboys. All right, now that we have beaten together our sugar and our butter, we need to beat in our egg, our vanilla, and our salt until everything is well blended. I'll just wipe my hand real quick. Let's start with our egg. Of course, I keep the eggs refrigerated until we need them. There's no reason to not do so. Et voila. Hold on a second. A tiny little egg shard landed in the thing. Don't worry, I got it out. We're good. Let's see. Next up, let's measure in our vanilla. We need 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use the 1/2 teaspoon measuring spoon 3 times. Not quite. There we go. And 3. There we go. We're going to keep the vanilla out on the counter because we might need to use it a bit later on. And finally, our salt. We need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, not a lot. Okay. All right. And so you can just fit this thing inside the salt shaker. There we go. All right, without further ado, let's blend this bad boy up. It looks really icky at the moment, but the more we kind of incorporate everything, the better and tastier it will begin to look. And there we go. The spinny things are pretty clean at this point. I'm just going to take a quick second. There's a lot of detritus that kind of gets stuck on the sides of the bowl. And so I'm just kind of scraping around the edges of it. Get that shit in there. There we go. And we're good. All right. Next step, gradually add our 2 cups of flour at low speed, beating until just blended. We've got our all-purpose flour right over here. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start off with a cup. Now I always find it a little bit tough to like both gradually add in the flour and beat stuff into this thing at the same time, so hold on a sec. I'm having a little bit of difficulty measuring out the flour. Okay. No, it's probably going to be too much. Well, I can always compensate with the next cup. All right. There we go. Let's begin mixing her up. We have a very firm, very sticky dough. I think we need to add in a little bit more flour. All right, so we're trying to do just a little bit under a cup now to compensate for last time. Okay, I think that's about good. If we put slightly less flour in this thing than we're supposed to, I mean, we can always figure things out, compensate later on. Oh man, this is a really tough dough. I'm gonna turn up the speed on the mixers a little bit. I mean, I think we more or less managed to incorporate everything in here, so let's lower the speed a little bit. Nope, not that much. Okay. Like last time, I think we're going to need to scrape a little bit of dough off of these things. Might actually be easier to just do this with my hands, if I gotta be honest. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just put this by the sink so we don't have to worry about it anymore. At least not for now. Same thing with this one. Okay. Having a little bit of tough getting that in there. There we go. Let me just wash my hands real quick. Okay. Remove half the dough to a medium bowl. Stir in the remaining 1/3 of a cup of flour. Add 1/3 of a cup of cocoa to the dough in the mixer bowl. Beat until blended. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead. This is gonna be, I guess this will be my cocoa bowl. This is going to be a little bit tough to kind of like eyeball exactly how much dough is half, but I'm gonna do my best. And I'm going to try to use my hands as little as possible also. Just avoid my hands getting dirty again so quickly. Okay, this looks about even, especially if you kind of consider the dough that's like stuck to the sides of the bowl for the white one right over here. I mean, I realize it's probably going to be a little bit difficult. If I had two bowls that were exactly the same size and same weight, I could probably use a scale to like really be ultra precise, but alas, that's not going to be able to happen. All right. I'm just gonna add a little piece over to that one, another little piece over there. Okay, I think that's about as even as we're gonna be able to get it. Let's go ahead and let's add our 1/3 of a cup to this one. I know I said that was the cocoa one, but I think I'm gonna change it up. Did I add too much now? Yep, I added too much. 1 second. Okay. All right. 1/3 of a cup in there. And next, we've got to add 1/3 of a cup of cocoa to this one. Let me grab a spoon real quick. It's not quite at 1/3. Okay, I'm just gonna add just a touch more. There we go. That's about 1/3 of a cup. All right. I don't suspect that we're gonna use the cocoa powder anymore this evening, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put that away for the time being. There we go. You know what? I have the spoon over here that's already partially coated in cocoa powder. I'm going to use that to mix up the rest of this cookie batch. It may not be as powerful and as quick as the mixer, but I just kind of want to use my hands a little bit more, you know what I mean? Have a little bit more direct control over the process. Okay. Whew. This isn't easy, but I am enjoying it. I'm trying as hard as possible not to kind of reach in with my hands and just use those, but it's a little tough. Hello, snorkelies. I mean, you're not wrong. Cooking definitely is a workout. When push-ups get involved, because my wheel spin of causality lands on push-ups, it gets even more intense. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go all in and just knead this stuff with my hands just a little bit, just to make sure that it's well incorporated all the way through. Oh man, it feels pretty good, and it's not as sticky as I thought it was gonna be. Just gonna roll it around the bowl a little bit to see if they can kind of catch any excess bits of chocolate or powder inside of it. All right, that is that for the chocolate cookie dough. Et voila. I'm just gonna put this over here on the side real quick. Let's work on the rest of this particular cookie dough. You know what? Let's keep with tradition. Let's go ahead and let's use another spoon. Give me one sec real quick. Thanks again, by the way, for tuning in, snorkelies. Your presence is always welcome here. This dinner is pretty straightforward compared to some of the previous dishes I've made on this channel over the course of the past few weeks, but clearly, as you can see, there are still quite a lot of steps and quite a few ingredients involved. Okay, I'm thinking at a certain point, I'm probably gonna have to dig in here with my hands as well to really incorporate this stuff too. Let's just do it now. Like last time, it's not as sticky as you'd think it would be at this point, probably because so much flour has been added. So it's not that difficult to kind of like mix together as you might think. It's just a few kind of pieces of matter at the bottom of the bowl that aren't really kind of sticking together to the whole that much. I'm doing my best to kind of incorporate them. That's a fair point on the butter part. There's not too much butter across both cookies. Certainly there is quite a bit though. Okay, with that taken care of, what we gotta do next is we gotta wrap both of our doughs separately in plastic wrap and refrigerate for 30 minutes or until firm. What we're gonna be doing is we're basically just gonna be refrigerating both of them until we're ready to put them in the oven. When we're kind of halfway through our main course for today. So it won't be 30 minutes, it'll be whatever serves us conveniently the most. Let me just dry my hands here real quick and we'll grab some Glad wrap. Hello. You should be able to hear me now. Thank you, 00, for letting me know. I'm a little bit surprised that I lost mic at that moment. I'm looking at my Rode Go wireless at the moment, and the battery icon is blinking a little bit, which is surprising because I left it to charge like overnight leading up to today's stream. If there is some sort of problem, I suppose that I could like just plug it back in or figure out a way to plug it in permanently with like a portable battery charger. If that's what it has to come down to, I guess I could figure that out. Okay, well, I'll just... Yeah, it would seem as if the battery on my Rode Go wireless is fried. So give me just a quick second. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a... Okay, I now have my Rode Go wireless connected into a portable battery charger. It would seem as if it's on, based on the waveforms that I'm currently looking at in OBS. Only problem is that sometimes in the past when I've had my microphone connected to a power source, it produces a little bit of electronic interference. Snorkelys is saying we're good, so I'm trusting that we're good for the time being. I gotta say, I'm really glad that this portable battery charger was fully juiced up, because previously this battery charger had not been juiced up until like a week ago. So I'm glad I did it ahead of tonight's stream. Okay, well, I'll be sure to kind of keep an eye on that. At some point, I'll probably just disconnect it from the portable battery charger. Let me just, because I have it in my hands right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this thing away. Yeah, better make sure to top up your battery packs when you have the chance. Okay, where were we? Right, I was in the middle of going through the recipe for this particular Rachel Ray recipe. Last thing I was talking about was the chorizo. Recipe calls for a pound of cured chorizo. I don't have chorizo, but I was able to get about a pound of merguez sausages, which is what we're gonna be using instead. We're gonna be using an onion. I have 2 small onions, so same difference. We are going to be using some sprigs of fresh rosemary. I just have dried rosemary. It calls for piquillo peppers. I just have red peppers in water, so we'll be using that. We need 4 cloves of garlic that have been crushed. I have them right over here. We need 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. Got it right here in this cup. Left over from the last time that we made a recipe on this channel. A cup of white wine. I actually have non-alcoholic white wine right over here. We need some chopped flat leaf parsley, some chicken stock. We have both of those ready to go. The recipe also calls for us to use some hot pickled red cherry peppers. I gotta be honest, I didn't particularly care for that, so we're gonna be excluding that. All right, step number 1 is to preheat the oven to 450 degrees. That's for when we're gonna put our dish in the oven, but that's not gonna come for quite some time, so we can ignore that for the time being. That being said, we do eventually need to preheat our oven to 350 degrees for the cookies, so at some point we'll have to remember to do that. In fact, you know what? Might as well go ahead and let's do so right now. Let's see, convection bake, 370 degrees. There we go. Let's see. Preheat a large cast iron skillet over high. I actually watched Greg Miller's video on making this dish ahead of time, and he actually recommended that we not do that. He recommended that actually what we want to do is we want to only put the skillet over heat when we are ready to begin cooking the chicken. Step 3, season the chicken with salt and pepper. Add olive oil to the skillet, 2 turns of the pan. Add the chicken skin side down and cook until browned, about 6 minutes. Turn over, sprinkle with the paprika and cook until browned, 2 to 3 minutes. Transfer to a plate. Add the chorizo to the skillet and cook, stirring often until browned, about 2 minutes. This is a very long step 3. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start from the beginning. Number 1, season the chicken with salt and pepper. Okay, let's go ahead and let's grab ourselves a plate real quick that we'll be using for the chicken. We're also going to go ahead and we're going to just turn over this plate. We previously were defrosting our chicken in water like such. So let's go ahead and let's abscond the chicken of its water. The plan was for us to use 8 chicken thighs. I don't know if these are 8 chicken thighs. Oh, it seems like they are 8 chicken thighs. They're still a little bit frosty on the bottom, but I'd imagine that that issue will be dealt with the more that we cook them. This bad boy is going to go into the garbage. Oh, whoopsies. Forgot to hit the pedal hard enough. Gonna wash my hands well to get rid of the chicken residue from them. And we are going to return to our chicken. It says that we got to season it with salt and pepper, and it specifically does not state how much salt and pepper we got to use, so we're just going to kind of all eyeball it. This is sugar. I don't think that we need this anymore, so we're going to put this back in the pantry. I was almost about to begin sprinkling a little bit of that on the chicken. I suspect it'll probably still taste pretty good, but let's not experiment right now. Okay. Where is the salt? Here we go. It was hiding behind the olive oil. So just spread these out a little bit better. Gotta say, some of the chicken thighs here are a little bit on the small side, but I'd imagine that it will still probably turn out pretty good. I like how nice and big and flaky this sea salt is. You can really kind of see it. There we go, and I'm just going to do another final little sprinkling of salt on these bad boys just to make sure they're all nice and seasoned up. And with that out of the way, next up we got our pepper. There we go. Salt and pepper all over our chicken. Next up, we got to add our olive oil to our skillet. Recipe says that we got to use 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So let's grab our skillet real quick. I'm gonna grab our tablespoon measuring spoon. Just gonna add an extra little bit of olive oil just to make sure it's nice and lubed up. There we go. We'll keep this at the side. I'm gonna really kind of rotate it around in the pan to make sure that the olive oil is really all greased up there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn the burner that this is gonna be going on up to high, get it all nice and preheated up. Okay, perfection. Okay, and now we can add the chicken skin side down and cook until brown about 6 minutes. Snorkely says chicken thighs are the real deal, best part. I enjoy chicken thighs. I feel like if you had to ask me to choose between chicken thighs and chicken breasts, I'd have a bit of an impasse. It's not really something that I've kind of like tested myself on, like put a piece of chicken thigh and chicken breast both on the same plate and been like, all right, see which one you prefer more or less. That would probably be something to try at some point someday. Okay, without further ado, let's put our little chicken thighs on the plate. The original recipe calls for chicken thighs with bones. These ones don't have bones on them, which I know some people will say, oh man, and that takes away a lot of the difficulty of cooking them. I didn't mind at all the prospect of me having to cook with bones in, but alas, this is where we currently are at. Let's bring in the stove cam real quick. As you can see, we've got our chicken boys right over here. The burner is still heating up a little bit, but eventually it'll get nice and toasty. I suspect probably I would agree, yeah. I suspect so. All right, gonna put that over here. Let's just move these guys around in the pot a little bit. Because again, their undersides were a little bit frozen, it's probably gonna take a little bit longer to cook them than it might normally, but that's okay. We are nothing but patient. All right, and so the idea is that we got to cook them until brown about 6 minutes, but again, that will probably take a little bit longer than that. When we turn them over, we want to sprinkle them with paprika and cook until brown 2 to 3 minutes. Let's see over here. We got to use a teaspoon of smoked paprika, so not a lot, if I got to be totally honest. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to get the amount of paprika that we're going to be using ready.
This is fine.
There we go. And I'm just gonna very gingerly, daintily put it over here to the side for when we are ready to use it. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the rest of the paprika away in the drawer from whence it came. Oven is currently at 259 degrees, so pretty soon it'll be at the point where we can start baking the cookies in the oven. While we're waiting for that to happen, one of the ingredients, as I read earlier, is a lemon that has been fully zested and juiced. Let's go ahead, seeing as how we've not zested or juiced it, and do that right now. Gotta get ourselves a small plate. There we go. This side's probably the best side for zesting it. man, the lemony smell coming off of this lemon is really pungent in a surprisingly pleasant way. I was not expecting this. I can hear the chicken beginning to sizzle. I'm going to tend to it in just a moment. All right, I'd say this lemon is pretty well zested. I'm just going to reach into the bell grater real quick so we can get all of the lemon zest from inside of it. What's funny, Snorkelies, you say in the chat, fresh lemon is great. It really is, and I feel like I didn't really appreciate it for being great before. I feel like there was a period of time in my life where, like, I would squeeze a lemon every now and then to make lemonade or whatever, but I really did not, like, get the full use out of a lemon the way that you ought to until I really started cooking. All right. Gonna go ahead and we're gonna squeeze ourselves some juice. Okay. The undersides are still kind of white, so we're gonna have to continue to cook them for a little while longer. Not a problem, Snorkelies. Your presence here, as I said earlier, is always appreciated. You gotta be right back for a few minutes. It's not a problem with me. All right, I think that's about good in terms of lemon juice. Okay. Just making a little bit of space here on the counter because eventually we're going to need to take our cookies out of the fridge and shape them into the shapes we want them to be. And so I'm just sort of preparing that so that when we need to do that, it's quick and easy for us. Let's check up on our chicken. Let me just turn down the heat just a little bit because there's quite a bit of oil splattering every which way. There we go. Okay. Whew. Looking ahead, there aren't all too many other ingredients that we really need to kind of prepare ahead of time, except for the chorizo sausages, which we are going to need to remove from their casing. So you know what? Let's go ahead and let's actually do that right now. Again, we don't have chorizo, we have merguez, and I realize I might be mispronouncing that. I apologize. not quite browned. Let's go ahead. I'm just gonna I'll grab a bowl like this. Here we go. And so, real simple, I'll just go ahead and I'll use the pair of scissors that I have here to kind of puncture their intestinal casings. Maybe I should have made a bigger hole. Well, I got through it anyways. Recipe calls for a pound of this stuff. We actually only have 400 grams. You need usually 450 grams to get a pound when you're dealing with meats. But I suspect that it'll work out fine. Okay. What if I cut them in half, is it easier to kind of remove the skin? No, not quite. Not quite. All right. Well, the oven reached the temperature that we need it to be, so it's ready for when we want to put the cookies in, at least. I'm gonna finish removing the casings from these things. As soon as the casings are removed, I will move on to the next step with the chicken. Okay. All that sausage is in there. There we go, 2 more. One more. And there we go. All of the sausage casings, there we go, have been removed. Let's check up on our chicken. That's funny. I was expecting it would be like super browned when I came back, but it's still a little bit, still needs a little bit more time actually. But it's definitely getting there. I'll give it like 2 more minutes. Echo, set a timer for 2 minutes. I don't think it heard me. Echo, set a timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Starting now.
Whew, I did not realize, as I stepped away from the sink, I did not realize that the frying pan was tipping over that way. We're good though. We are all good. You know what? While we have an extra minute and a half to go, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna begin chopping up these broccoli stems. The broccoli over here is not part of the chicken dish. This is going to be part of a dish that we're going to make towards the very end when the chicken dish is in the oven, just to serve as a nice side to all of the yummy chickeny goodness that will make up the main course of today's meal. When you got the broccoli thingamabobs like this, you can kind of just pick off the little individual broccoli pieces like such. That's what I like to do to kind of speed up the process. Hold on a sec. Got another chunky stem piece to remove here. And there we go. I think we fully managed to cut up and prepare our broccoli just in time for the timer to ring. All right, Echo, turn off the timer. Okay, let's see. Yep, our chicken is definitely nice and browned on the underside. I'm just gonna turn down the heat just a little bit more because it's really sizzling and we don't want to create too much of a mess. Let's go ahead. All right, so now that we've gotten all of that taken care of, we got to go ahead and turn over our chicken and sprinkle them with paprika. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring the stove cam in so we can have a better view of the action. A little bit of my paprika that I measured earlier got a little bit antsy and spilled out, but we're okay. Yeah, look at that golden color. Look at that golden color. It is beautiful. All right. Trying to see if maybe it's a little bit better if I like open up some of them a little bit. It's a little bit tough though. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to just take like little bits of the paprika and kind of like sprinkle it on top of them. Somebody is currently calling the Kazina household, it would appear. It's funny, I thought that 1 teaspoon of paprika wasn't going to be a whole lot of spice, but lo and behold, there is quite a bit of spice to go around on this thing. All right, looking good. Of course, the paprika is adding a very nice texture to the already delicious scent that's coming from this frying pan, so that's real nice. All right. It says here that we've got to wait for the undersides of the chicken to be browned, which will take about 2 to 3 minutes. And then after that, we will transfer them to a plate. Then we add the chorizo to the skillet and we cook, stirring often until they are browned, about 2 minutes. Then we are going to add the onion, the peppers, the rosemary, and garlic and cook until the onion soften about 3 minutes. Then we stir in the tomato paste, then the wine, then the lemon zest, and 1.5 to 2 cups of stock, depending on how saucy we want the dish to be. We return the chicken to the skillet and spoon some of the sauce on top. We then roast the whole dish in the oven until the chicken juices run clear when pierced with a knife about 12 minutes. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make sure that our chicken is fully cooked through, and then we are gonna take a brief break, just a very brief break before we start cooking our merguez to put our cookies in the oven first. That is the current game plan. Problem is that there is a lot of parts of the chicken that are not as fully cooked through as they could be on account of the weird ways that they kind of opened up as they were being cooked midway through. So that's something that we got to figure out. Let's move the stove view to the corner. I am going to go ahead and I'm just going to really kind of make sure everything is moved out of the way. And I'm going to just clean up the counter real nice. Just so that we don't have any paprika or salt or chorizo casings or broccoli interfering with the cookies that we're gonna spread out onto the counter. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let me just grab another paper towel real quick to help dry it up. Perfect. Okay, let's check up on our chicken. Seems like the underside is nicely browned. I'm just going to turn over the pieces of chicken now so we can get sides of them that previously weren't really well cooked. What we're aiming to do, at least right now, is just ensure that there are no sides to the chicken that are pink. We need to eliminate pinkness from our life. And if there are no pink sides on the chicken, we just turn it over to the side that still feels like it's least cooked and, you know, work from there. There we go. Okay. Cookie doughs feel pretty firm and nice. I realize that we're going to need to use a rolling pin for this next part, so let me go ahead and grab our rolling pin. There we go. I put it on our dining room table for the time being. So in the instructions, it says that we need to, this is the instruction for the cookies. It says that we need to preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We already did so. It says we need to grease our cookie sheets or line them with parchment paper. I have already done so, as you can see right here. And now it says we need to roll out our plain cookie dough onto a floured surface to about 1/4 of an inch of thickness. We need to cut out a bunch of circles, place them 2 inches apart on our prepared cookie sheets, and then repeat the same process with our chocolate dough. So that's the name of the game. I realize right now that we actually need to bring our flour back out. We are a little bit preemptive putting the flour away earlier. Eliminate. All right. Let's check up on our chicken real quick. Okay. Seems like there's a piece over here that didn't previously really open up. I'm gonna have to spread this guy out to make sure that its underside is nice and cooked. Same thing with this one. There we go. There we go. There's this one piece of thigh meat over here that we need to just open up just to make sure that it's kind of fully and properly cooked through. There we go. All right, and we'll let that cook for like about another minute or so, and then we'll begin flattening out our cookies. Actually, while we're waiting to do so, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm real quickly going to just wash down this plate that we originally put the chicken on. There we go. We're going to dry it real quick. And we're going to put some paper towels on top, and that is where our chicken is going to rest while we take care of everything else. All right, I think our chickens are just about ready to come home to roost. I don't really see any pinkish meat on them anymore, so I think that we're good. All right. Let's go ahead and one by one we're going to put our chicken on our plate. Of course, we'll still be giving the chicken more time later on to cook in the oven. Fuck, did not mean to drop it like that. So if they're not fully cooked through right now, they'll be given another opportunity to do so later on. Okay. Let me pull up the instructions real quick. After transferring the chicken to the plate, it doesn't say whether or not to turn down or turn up the heat on the stove, but because we need to wait a hot minute before we put the chorizo on the skewer, I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna turn the heat down to minimum. Not completely off, but just minimum, seeing as how we don't need it at the moment. All right, without further ado, let's bring our dough out. We're gonna need to use ourselves a cup to cut out the cookies that we're going to be making. I'm trying to figure out what size cup we ought to be using. I think this size cup will probably be fine. So let's use that. Ugh. All right. All right, I don't know exactly how many cookies I intend to get out of each thing of dough. If I could get 8, I think that would be great. All right. 1. I should probably have these close on hand, actually. Where can I put it? I guess I can put it here, right? There we go. Now, very kind of daintily, I'm gonna just transfer it there. All right. Two. 3. 4. That cookie might be a little bit more on the thin side than some of the others, but it's all right. We can always put that one in the reject pile. That's 5. 6. 7. All right, looks like we'll probably be able to get like maybe 10 or 11 out of these. That's 8. That's 9. All right, now we gotta bunch up the dough that we have here, squash it nice and firm, and then we're going to roll it out again. I think we might actually be able to get even more out of it than that, actually. We'll see. Okay, I think I should have floured the rolling pin a little bit more, but it's all right. We got it about as thin as we need it to be. And it's at 10, and now we're at 11. If I could just space these out a little bit better, because we're rapidly running out of space on our baking sheet. Okay. There we go. And we don't really, I guess we could kind of like lump some pieces together here and we could make a very awkward 13th. There we go. Don't know if we'll use the 13th for photography purposes at the end of the stream, but we'll see. There we go. And as for these pieces over here, I guess we can just spread it out.
I'm already hungry.
You can grab yourself a snack. If I kind of put it in the cup like that, yeah, I'm trying to like kind of spread it out so that we have like one final circular cookie that we can work with, but it's a little bit on the tough side. All right, there we go. These will be scraps that we'll put in the garbage. And this is our final cookie. Way more of these than I was anticipating we were gonna have. How am I gonna fit this on? You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead, feel bad for it, but I'm just gonna cut this in two because that way we'll be able to fit it on this thing. And there we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this over here. Let's do our chocolate cookies next. Did I already put the flour away? No, I did not. Flour is just over here. There we go. Still smells fantastic. All right, let's go. I always feel a little bit bad when I have to roll out chocolate cookies like this because I just feel really bad about getting the chocolatey parts covered in flour, but in the end, it doesn't really matter in terms of flavor. Just looks a little bit weird, you know? All right. Gonna grab cookie tray number 2. There we go. Number 1. Number 3. Number 4. Why is it so suddenly hard to get this one off the counter? Give me a quick second. I thought I had sufficiently floured that. Apparently not. Maybe the chocolate causes it to like cling more? We got 6, by the way. There we go, that was easy. top of this one is a little bit destroyed. Let's see if I can fix it. There we go. Whew. Okay, I think that's about as many as we can make from first go around. I'm gonna lump this stuff together. Try to do the same thing again. Let's add a little bit more flour because it seems like this batch of cookies really sucked up a lot of flour actually. Again, spread it around nicely, get a lot on the rolling pin in the center, and let's spread her out. There we go. Now, this one's not quite as round as I was hoping it would be, but it's all right. All right, there we go. I gotta move some of these things around once again to make a little bit more space. I think this might be another one of those situations where I have to make like two halves. There we go, that's half number one. There we go, and we're probably gonna have to make half number two now. Or maybe we can make like a hole. We'll see. There we go. We have one final hole to work with and some, you know what, maybe I can figure out a way to fit this in somewhere. Maybe I can put this in like a corner somewhere. There we go. Made ourselves a nice cookie triangle, which will go in the cookie triangle corner. And here we go. The final hole. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and let's put this by the sink. I'm gonna just rinse my hands real quickly. And without further ado, I'm gonna put both cookie trays in the oven. And after putting them in the oven, it says that we gotta bake them for 8 to 10 minutes. After we bake them for 8 to 10 minutes, we put them on a wire rack. There we go. Left-hand side. And, uh-oh, I think I might have to put them underneath there. All right, here we go, right-hand side. All right, Echo, set a timer for 8 minutes.
8 minutes, starting now.
All right, before we move on to adding our chorizo casings back to the frying pan, we're gonna slowly increase the heat of it back to where it was previously. And while we let the heat increase, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up the counter a little bit now that we no longer have any need for all of the flour that is currently on it. mean, I suspect we could probably leave all this floury detritus on the counter for the remainder of the stream, and it probably would still work out okay, but I want to keep my mental faculties in check. A good way to do that is to keep everything spick and span. All right, there we go. Let's actually, I'm just gonna grab myself a paper towel and just wet it ever so slightly just to really clean things up and wipe things down over here. There we go. Looks nice and clean, and I think we're ready to move on to the next phase of today's dinner. Let's grab our phone, and let's return it to our chicken and sausage plate. All right. Next up, we got to add our chorizo to the skillet and cook, stirring often until browned, about 2 minutes. We then add our onion, piquillo. I don't know how to pronounce that word at all, and it's not even that type of pepper. You know what? Let me just transfer a couple things around here. I'm going to temporarily put all of the broccoli that we cut up earlier into this big bowl that we have right over here. And with the newly allocated space made by moving the broccoli into the bowl, I'm going to use this cutting board to just pre-cut up our onions, so after the sausages have been sufficiently cooked, we'll be ready to go on that end. All right, let's go ahead. Let's bring in our stovetop view, and let's begin cooking our sausages. There we go. Okay, it says to kind of stir often. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use a, I'll use this nice wooden spoon for this part. And so we're breaking these things up as we kind of go. Let me tell you, the smell, real nice right now. Very aromatic. Echo, set a timer for 2 minutes.
Second timer, 2 minutes. Starting now.
All right, and we have our 2-minute timer engaged. And see, we're going to continue to kind of like cut up these sausage into little bite-sized pieces, like the ones you can see on screen. The recipe doesn't specify how small the pieces got to be. I'm just going to make it so that they're all kind of uniformly small. And so any piece I see that feels like it's still a little bit too big, I'm going to take care of that. Okay, I'm going to let it cook like that for a sec there. While that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take care of our onions. I've got to remove some skin first, though. All right, and now we got to cut up our onion into pieces. Let's bring in the counter view cam to give ourselves a better view of the action. seems like our 2-minute timer for our merguez is almost up. Echo, turn off the timer. Okay. All right. Last part of the onion. I'm doing very good thus far of not getting teared up. Okay. I'm going to try my best not to kind of look at it. Let's go back and let's give our merguez a little bit of attention. Make sure everything on this side of the kitchen is getting the proper TLC that it needs and deserves. Looks like they're beginning to become nicely browned. All right. So after they have been browned, which we'll give them about another minute or so, we add our onion, our peppers, rosemary, and garlic. The garlic, which we have not touched on up until this point, is supposed to be crushed. But you know what I'm thinking? We already have our bell grater out on the counter. I think we might as well go ahead and grate up the garlic instead. I think that will produce the best effect. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just quickly cut the tips off of these things of garlic. Oh. Echo, which timer is this? Oh, this is...
Your 8-minute timer is ringing.
The 8-minute timer, all right. Echo, turn off the timer. That means that the cookies should already be ready.
No timer is set.
All right. We got to go ahead and we got to take some cookies out of the oven. Let's do that real quick before I forget. I think these guys might need just a little bit more time. Let's have them switch places, actually. Echo, set a timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
All right, let's go ahead and let's add our onions to our merguez. There we go, lots of onions. Okay. And the idea is that we're supposed to add all the other things all at once, but we'll start with the onions first. There we go. Okay, I'm going to turn up the heat ever so slightly. Next, let's grate in our garlic. Damn it. That's number one. Man, the merguez, super hyper aromatic. This is a good decision to go with that. All right, number two. That's the timer for the cookies. Echo, turn off the timer. They get a little bit singed. That's okay. I just want to complete the garlic first. All right. And that's basically all of the garlic. Let me just mix it up real quick. Perfection. All right. I am going to just real quickly wash my hands like this. I'm going to dry my hands real quick. And I am going to take the cookies out of the oven. There we go. These are our chocolate cookies. Looking pretty nice. And I'm beginning to realize, oh, here, perfect. I can put the vanilla cookies over here. Actually, I can probably put both cookies over there. Let me do that. These are our plain / vanilla cookies. All right, and we're gonna leave them over there. Okay, let's move on to our next ingredient. We added in our garlic, we added in our onions. Let's add in our rosemary. It calls originally for a total of 4 sprigs of rosemary. We only have dried rosemary, however, so we're just gonna add in just a tiny little amount. Just enough to kind of, give off the impression of rosemary that we want without going full bore. There we go. I think that's about good. I think anything more in the rosemary flavor would be maybe a little bit on the overpowering side. Just gonna mix that up real nicely. Okay, we got the dried rosemary in there. Last thing for now is our fire roasted red peppers. Okay, I think I might need to do a little bit of math on this one. The recipe says we need to use 7.6 ounces of roast piquillo peppers. But this jar is a very unhelpful 500 milliliters. In the video, Greg Miller used like 8 of these things, which sounds right. But let me just do a quick little bit of internet sleuthing. Let's see here. Peppers, ounces to milliliters. All right, let's see here. It seems like 16 fluid ounces is 500 milliliters. The recipe calls for 7.6, so we got to use about half the jar, which I suspect might actually be 8. So it seems like Greg Miller was right on the money. Let's grab ourselves a fork. The recipe says drained and coarsely chopped, so we actually got to chop these guys up. We're a little bit behind schedule, so I'm actually going to, for safety purposes, just lower the heat here a little bit, just so that they don't overcook while we chop these guys up. Okay. Let's see. I feel like we're actually like, I don't think we're gonna even be able to use 8. I think this is probably, oh no, it seems like we're actually, I think that's about half actually. Yeah, it seems like there's only 3 peppers left in there and we have about 4 on the counter. So I think that's about as many as we're gonna go ahead and use. Let's dry these to the best of our ability. Using paper towels. If a little bit of their water gets into the stir fry, it's not that big a deal because a few steps from now we're going to need to add some vegetable broth to it, which of course is mostly water, but you don't want it to be too watery. It says coarsely chopped, so we'll just chop it in half like this and we'll just chop it a couple of times like that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't love bell peppers. These actually smell pretty good. I'm actually kind of surprised. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and let's add these to the stove. Didn't think that the aroma of this could get any better, but lo and behold, the peppers actually are really adding to it. Good job, peppers. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's see here. After stirring in all these things, we gotta wait until the onions soften. We put in the onions quite some time ago, however, and just judging by their consistency, kind of stirring them around in the pot, I think that the onions are more or less where we need them to be. So we can go ahead and we can move on to the next step. That next step being adding in our tomato paste, then the wine, lemon zest, and 1.5 to 2 cups of stock. Let me just see something here. Okay, we turns out the lemon juice is only used at the very end. Good to know. All right, let's use our tomato paste. We gotta put in 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. It seems like the oil inside the tomato paste is separated from the paste, so I'm just gonna stir it up real quick. It has not gone bad. It's still good, it's just separated a little bit. Okay, where is our measuring spoon? Here we are. This measuring spoon is still coated with a little bit of olive oil, so I'm just gonna wipe that down real quick. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's add first tablespoon. There we go. Oh, damn it. Second tablespoon. There we go. And finally, third tablespoon. There we go. Some tomato paste definitely got lost in the transference, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a nice big glob right here and schlep it in there. There we go. There we go. Let's go ahead and let's bring in the stove cam view and mix this stuff up. Incorporate it into the rest of the cooked sausages and vegetables that are in front of us. Perfection. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit. All right, next up, we got to add our cup of white wine. Of course, this is de-alcoholic white wine. Should not really affect the flavor. In any case, the alcohol would probably get burned off if we actually used alcoholic white wine. Let's see. There we go. All right, let's add this stuff. There we go. Seeing as how it's kind of a big bottle and prone to breaking easily, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put this thing away in the cupboard from whence it came. There we go. I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit more so it can begin to evaporate a little bit more quickly. We added our wine. Let's add in our lemon zest. And the stove view yet again to give ourselves a better view of the action. As you can see, it's become quite saucy now that we added the non-alcoholic wine. But we shall be a-okay. All right, looks like our lemon zest is pretty well incorporated, which means that next up we got to add in our 1.5 to 2 cups of vegetable stock. We're going to be using vegetable stock tablets as usual. And normally the way that this works is that one of these tablets is equivalent to 3 cups of water. So we just got to use half of one of these and we will have what we need. Let me just clean this knife real quick. There we go. I'm going to put this back in here. And I am going to measure out 1.5 cups of water. And then I'm going to crumble the tablet into the mixture. Let's see, that's not quite there. Let's see. There we go, that's about good. Okay. Stove cam in. There we go. We have ourselves a real saucy mixture. Now I'm just going to, again, do my best to just kind of crumble the vegetable stock tablet in there so that it will be incorporated and dissolve into the mixture as quickly as can be. It's kind of a little bit tough to kind of mix it around right now, but it will begin to simmer in due time. And when that happens, it will begin to become ever so slightly less saucy. All right. Whew. After this, we are supposed to return the chicken to the skillet and spoon some of the sauce on top. We then roast the chicken in the oven. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to wait for the dish to begin to simmer again, just so that we know that some of the sauce is beginning to evaporate. And then after that, we'll put the chicken on it. While we're waiting for it to begin to simmer again, I'm just going to go ahead and put a bunch of ingredients away now that we no longer have any need for them. For example, our red peppers. We don't need any of them anymore. Don't need any more tomato paste. That's going in the fridge as well. What else? We actually don't need any more Glad wrap because we used that earlier with the cookie dough, so that's going to go inside as well. Speaking of which, let's have a quick taste of one of them cookies. This is one of the half pieces that we made earlier using some of the leftover dough that we didn't really need. Not bad, very plain, but it serves its purpose. All right. Anything else here? We don't need any vegetable tablets, so those are going to go back in the counter as well. We don't need any more rosemary, and so that's going to go back in as well. And I think that's about it for the time being. Okay, seems like our sauce has finally begun to simmer once again. I've put it on the highest temperature, so it's doing all that it currently can. It seems like we're more or less good in terms of getting rid of ingredients we no longer need from our counter. Still some parts here and there that we need to clean up, but I think we're more or less okay in that regard for the time being. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's add our chicken back into our food creation. We had a pair of tongs. Here they are. I'm going to use these to kind of daintily add the chicken in so I don't accidentally kind of scald myself. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8.1. And number 8.2. There we go. And now we are just gonna real quick use our spatula to just pour some of the sauce on top of our chicken boys, just to make sure that they're nice and hydrated. There we go. Oh, I just realized before we can put this dish in the oven, we actually need to get it to the temperature that we need it to get to. That temperature being 450 degrees. So let's go ahead and let's do that right now. Convection bake, 450 degrees. There we go. It's okay if we don't put it in right away. We need to give the stove a bit of time to boil down some of the non-alcoholic wine and chicken stock as well. Let me just turn on the fan though, because there's a lot of steam currently coming out of it. There we go. Okay. I suspect we probably might not even need to use our cutting board anymore, so I'm just gonna put it, let me put it over here for the time being. Okay, well, while we're waiting for our oven to reach 450 degrees, I'm just going to turn down the heat on the frying pan ever so slightly. And you know what? Let's go ahead and let's do today's round of snacks and collation. Hello everybody, my name is Alexander Kazina and you are currently watching Snacks and Collation, the weekly segment on Kozibear's Cooking in which I taste all manner of international and unusual snacks for your satisfaction and curiosity. Today I have 2 Haribo gummy snacks to go around. And let me tell you, I'm really excited to check these out. Snack number 1 is Haribo Pasta Frutta Sour. which I'm assuming means like fruity pasta flavor. Unfortunately, these are so foreign that their instructions are entirely in German. No English text to be found anywhere on them. So yeah, basically it's like fruity pasta flavor. Number 2, this one, I don't think this one will be as good as fruity pasta flavor, but I'm still incredibly excited to check it out. This is Haribo Crazy Schnuller. Good old Crazy Schnuller. We got our vaguely Asian-looking kid. We have our Haribo bear, and of course we have our Crazy Schnuller himself, looking up at the sky like a happy little condom out in the rain. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about these things because, again, all the text on them is in German and not English, so I guess we might as well dig in. I'm going to go ahead, because I said that I don't think I'm going to enjoy these as much, I'm going to start out with the Crazy Schnuller first and see if I'm taken by surprise. Let's see here. There we go. Give yourselves a nice hole. So Crazy Schnuller, basically what it is it's a bunch of these little dick ring things that have like a little hint of color at the end. This one is red, but you also have orange and yellow, and that seems to be the only colors. I'm assuming that these are probably citrus flavored. Let's see here. Oh no, wait, hold on a second. On the back, it actually kind of says what the flavors are. There is banana, so the yellow ones are banana. The red ones are Kirsch, Kirsche, and then the orange ones are Pfefferschisch Maracuja. I don't know what that is. All right, let's go ahead and let's try out one of the red ones. You know, I don't love this bad boy, but I gotta appreciate the complexity of the flavor. On one hand, you have the kind of like brightly colored dick part that is distinctly flavored like fruit. And then you have the kind of large, kind of circular part that is distinctly flavored like kind of salty-ish black licorice. And if you don't like salty black licorice, you're not gonna love these, but it's a complexity to their flavor that I feel like we don't get in a lot of American candies that I do have to appreciate. Let's try out one of the orange ones next. It's okay, nothing to write home about. All right, let's check out one of the banana ones. Yeah, nothing much to say about these ones. I was hoping that maybe the banana flavor would overpower the licorice flavor a little bit, but doesn't really do much. All right. I can't give these ones anything more than a 6. I think they're pretty decent, but, and again, I just appreciate how kind of complex of a flavor it is compared to a lot of like American snacks that we have over here. Like, shout out to anybody that enjoys this snack, but I think that if you're going through the snack aisle at your grocery store, you can choose better. Maybe Haribo Pasta Frutta might be that better. So let's open these bad boys and check them out. Tried cola cubes? No, I have not. I have tried Haribo gummy colas, but I've not tried cola cubes. Let me just take a quick second to lower the heat a little bit more because the sauce is being reduced by a little bit and I don't want it to like reduce too much. All right. Okay, let's go ahead. So like the previous one, on the back, you can actually see what some of the individual flavors are. And this time around, I think I can actually figure out what they're gonna be. You have orange, because of course orange is spelled the same way in any language. You have Apfel, so I'm assuming that's like green apple. We have Zitron, which I'm assuming is citron, which is lemon. And then finally the red ones are Erdbeer. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's maybe raspberry. Let's try Erdbeer first. Pretty good. I was hoping that they would be nice and tangy, and they are pretty nice and tangy. What I will say though is They're a little bit tougher to eat than I was expecting. To me, when I think about pasta, I think about something that just sort of melts in your mouth and is easily chewable. These things aren't really, they're not really as easily chewable. Let's try a citron flavor next. Pretty good. I don't know what it is, but the lemon flavor of those felt like unusually powerful. Like, that is not the lemon flavor that I feel like we're typically used to here in America. All right, let's try the green apple one. Okay. Here's what it is. Not my favorite, but it's all right. Let's try out the orange one last but not least. It's a surprisingly juicy orange. All right. Well, I think I'm ready to render my verdict. I'm gonna give Haribo Pasta Frutta an 8 out of 10. I think that these bad boys are pretty tasty. I'd say check them out if you see them at your convenience store or international foods market. The only thing is that they're just a little bit tougher to chew than I would have liked, but other than that, they're a good time. All right, and with that, we're gonna end Snacks and Collation. Our chicken dish has been cooking quite nicely over the course of the past little bit, and our oven has reached the temperature that we needed it to reach. So let's go ahead and let's schlep that right in there. Give me one quick second. On the phone, it says that we have to roast the chicken in the oven until the juices run out of it when pierced with a knife, which is about 12 minutes. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna set the timer to 10 minutes and we'll see if that's enough. All right. All right. Echo, set a timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, starting now.
Okay. And with that taken care of, I guess we can go ahead and we can start preparing some of our broccoli. Well, the broccoli recipe, as it would happen, actually was originally shown off in a video that Greg did on how to make his famous oven chicken wings. Let's see right here. We got to trim and wash our broccoli, so we're going to have to do that real quick. Get a skillet on medium-high heat, toss some olive oil in there, toss some garlic in there and stir for a minute or so. Don't let it burn. We're actually not going to use garlic this time. This time around, we're actually just going to use salt and pepper. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and let's clean our broccoli. There might be more elegant ways of cleaning our broccoli, but so long as we made sure that they got a nice, clean little bath, we will be good to go. Because I didn't do so earlier, I'm just going to try a quick little piece of some of our chocolate cookies. Seems like things are going quite well in the oven. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's turn on the heat a little bit on the frying pan we're going to be using for our broccoli. There we go. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and let's tab a little bit of olive oil on here. Oh, fair bit of olive oil, maybe more than I would have otherwise used, but I'm not scared. Are you guys scared? You guys shouldn't be scared, because I'm not scared. All right, we're just gonna wait a minute or so for it to heat up. While that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start preparing the frosting that we're going to be using on the cookies. So the frosting recipe comes courtesy of a website called Design Neat Repeat. I don't know how the hell they come up with the names for some of these cooking websites. Let's see here. It says that we got to use 1.75 cups of powdered sugar, 3 tablespoons of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of almond extract, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And real simple, we basically just gotta go ahead and combine all of them all at once right at the beginning. So let's go ahead and let's actually start off with some of the extracts first. Well, it seems like those tablespoons maybe got a little bit too used up. Chicken continues to cook well. Let's start off with the almond extract first. We gotta add in half a teaspoon of the stuff. There we go. Let's bring in the counter view so we can get a better view of the action. Next up, we gotta add in a full teaspoon of vanilla extract. Got a half in there. We got another half in there. There we go. Perfect. Let's see here. 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt is next. To add that extra little je ne sais quoi to the mixture. I think I might have added in a little bit too much. I'm gonna just be very careful. There we go. That's about as much salt as I'm gonna add. Let's see here. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in our 3 tablespoons of milk, and then I'm gonna shift my attention back to the broccoli. Two and 3. There we go. I could go for some milk right now, but I'll save that until later. Let's see. Chicken continues to cook well in the oven. Let's go ahead. And let's grab ourselves. I just want to grab myself a quick cover that I can put on top of either dish when I am done with them. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty well heated up over there. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the broccoli to the mix. Let's go ahead and let's bring our stove camera in. Give ourselves a better view of the action. I feel like maybe I could have even made some of the pieces of broccoli a little bit on the smaller side if I wanted to. Echo, how much time is left on the timer?
You have 3 minutes and 20 seconds left on the 10-minute timer.
3 minutes. All right. All right. I think I might need to add a little bit more olive oil to the broccoli, if I gotta be honest. There we go. Not too much. Just enough to add a little bit more, I don't know, viscosity to the stir fry. Okay. Just move a couple of things out of the way over here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab some of the hot plates that were previously underneath the cookie trays. Now that the cookies are no longer underneath them, I'm just gonna put these over here for when we take our chicken dish out of the oven. So we're gonna be very careful that we use proper care and safety when we take it out because it's gonna be very hot. Let me use this actually. Here we go. Echo, how much time is left on the timer?
You have 1 minute and 30 seconds left on your 10-minute timer.
I'm gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna add a little bit more salt to these guys. Add some pepper. Real simple stuff. I'm going to turn down the heat just a little bit actually. All right, while those guys are cooking, let's go ahead and let's measure out the amount of icing sugar we're going to need to use. I'm thinking let's go ahead and we're going to reuse the measuring cup that we used earlier for our flour. I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to wipe the interior of this thing down because there's just a little bit of like remaining flour and cocoa powder inside of it. All right, we're going to use up this used bag of powdered sugar first. Got to get ourselves to a cup. Let's see here. There we go. That's a cup. Oh, there we go. Timer is done. We'll have to get to that other 3/4 of a cup in a bit. Echo, turn off the timer. All right, now very carefully, we're going to go ahead and take our chicken dish out of the oven. Let's go ahead, let's bring our oven cam in. Whew. Okay. Now we got to be very careful, very, very careful. I'm actually going to put a oven mitt on top of the handle there so that we know, be extra cautious, don't touch the handle. And yeah, that's the way that our dish is supposed to look when it comes out. Let me just grab my phone real quick. Because it says that basically we're supposed to cook it until the chicken juices run clean when pierced with a knife. So I guess we might as well test that. Let's see here. Here we go. If I go ahead and I cut that, oh yeah, chicken juices are running clean. We're good. We are good. Okay. I'm gonna give the broccoli another 2 minutes. Echo, set a timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, starting now.
Okay. Now after our chicken comes out of the oven, we're supposed to add lemon juice to it, which of course we prepared earlier. I'm gonna need to check up on how much lemon juice exactly we're gonna need though. Let me just measure out and whip up our frosting first. Okay. Since we're at about 1/4, let's grab the bigger bag. Again, making sure that nobody accidentally touches it. real tough, but I can get it out. Let's see, we are at not even a half. Just a little bit more. Almost there. Just a little bit more. All right. Let's see here. Broccoli's getting a little bit singed, but nothing major. I think that our broccoli is good. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to cut a quick little piece off of one of them stalks. Or, you know what, I could just grab a small little stalk right here and see how this thing tastes. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. Echo, turn off the timer. Actually, you know what? Let me move the broccoli over here to the counter. Okay. I'm going to move the salt and pepper to the location in the kitchen where they're normally kept. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make the frosting next, at least the base version of the frosting. We're going to mix it all up real nicely. After that's mixed up and nice and white, I am going to shift my attention back to the chicken and add the lemon that we need to add there. Oh man, putting almond extract in this was a good idea. These cookies are like, this icing, cookie icing that I'm making right now is real almondy. That is a good thing. Okay, perfecto. Let's shift our attention back to the chicken. Handle is still pretty hot, so we'll have to bear that in mind. So the idea is that we're meant to put in about 1/4 of a cup of juice. This is the juice that we made earlier. It looks like it's about 1/4 of a cup. We got to be careful we don't put the seeds in, however. So yeah, douse with lemon juice. Sprinkle with the parsley and hot cherry peppers. We're not using the cherry peppers. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we got to just put on our lemon and our parsley. Oh, I think I got a lemon in there accidentally. It's a little bit tough to get the rest of this stuff out. What if I just use like a tablespoon? No. I'm just gonna try to be ultra careful. And there we go. All right, parsley. If I recall correctly, the recipe instructions did not specify how much parsley we got to put on this bad boy. Let me move the stove view out of the way, by the way. There we go. Yeah, it just said chopped flat leaf parsley. Not that much. All right. Gonna remove the stems and just real quick over here to the side, I'm just gonna grab myself a knife and chop some of this stuff up. All right, and I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit on this delightful little dish, just to give a little bit of greenery to its appearance. Not a lot, just enough so that there's like little specks and flakes every here and there. There we go. I think that's about good. I'm actually going to remove one from there because I think that part was a little bit overcrowded with green. Same thing there. There we go. I think we're good in terms of parsley. Okay. Last but not least, we got to go ahead and we got to do a little bit of cookie decorating. Let's go ahead. I need to grab a good plate for this. A good, like, big, presentful serving plate. No, you know what? I know what we got to use. Give me one quick second. Here we go. These right here are the nice plates. All right. So for context, we got to make ourselves two kind of funny logos. One of which looks like this. This is going to go on top of the vanilla cookies or the plain cookies. It is the Kind of Funny Games logo. And then we have to use, make the other half of the cookies look kind of like this. And then if we have some more left over, we can make like other variations, like the Kind of Funny Games logo with a white background, which would be the Kind of Funny Plays logo. Give me a quick little second. I need a small bowl, not a large bowl, just a small bowl. Here we go. I'm trying to figure out how much of this stuff I should transfer. If I put that in there, see, I'm trying to figure out right now, like, how many types of cookies I want to make. You know what? I'll just make Kind of Funny and Kind of Funny Games. I'm not gonna make it any more complicated than that. So we're gonna just divide it into two. Don't need to have any more bowls than that. Okay. Now, real simple. In both bowls, we're gonna put an equal amount of blue icing food coloring. Let me turn off the oven real quick before I forget. And then in the one that's going to serve as the dark blue for the Kind of Funny Games logo, we're going to put a little bit of black food coloring as well. Oops. There we go. We'll have to fix that cabinet, and I got the chance to. So as you can see, you just put a small, tiny, itty-bitty amount of frosting in there, and poof, automatically they start to become nice and blue. It's not exactly the shade of Kind of Funny Blue. Here, let me show you a better look at this thing. It's not exactly the shade of Kind of Funny Blue we're going for, but it's close enough. Okay. Let's grab 2 cookies from each pile, just so that we can have them at the ready. So we have 2 dark cookies over there, and we got 2 light cookies over here. Let's move this frosting over here to the side. I'm just going to move the recipe image out of the way real quick. Once again, we're going to grab some more food coloring and just scrape it on in here. We're going to put the food coloring toothpick in the garbage so it can't beguile us any longer. We're going to do our best to kind of scrape along the side so we can get any excess white frosting inside the bowl and mixed into the massive light blue food coloring that makes up most of it. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty good on both of those accounts. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to screw this shut. We're going to grab our black food coloring, which you might remember from the Duck Nukem episode. And we're going to grab ourselves another toothpick real quick. And what we're aiming to do is we're just aiming to slightly darken the blue color. Get ourselves a nice dark blue color that resembles the blue seen on the back of the Kinda Funny Games logo, as you can see here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do it with this one in the green bowl, actually. Let's see. Chicken is still nicely hot. You know what? Give me just a quick second. I'm just gonna grab a cover that I can put on that bowl as well. Do we not have any covers that I can put on there? Hold on a sec. I might have one actually. Here we go. It's a little bit small, but you know what? If I swap them, if I put this one for the broccoli and I put this one for that, it'll work out. Okay, perfect. All right, we're gonna add in just a small amount of blackness in here. And we'll see just how much just that small amount of black kind of carries us. Oh, let's move the recipe image out of the way just to give you a better view of the action. It's becoming a little bit more gray than perhaps I was anticipating it would, but I'm not too concerned just yet. I was hoping it would become like almost a little bit more purple, but all right, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna add in, let me just grab a tiny itty bitty piece of paper towel. I'm gonna mix in a little bit more. All right, there we go. That's a larger dose than last time. And so that should get us a nice darkish color. Again, it's a little bit more gray than purple, but I think that we kind of did the best that we could. I think that what matters is that it'll resemble the Kinda Funny logo enough. And yeah, there we go. All right. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this on the white cookies, being very careful all the while that we spread it very gently and evenly without breaking the cookie underneath. Let's see, it's 6:46. At this rate, we will probably end just on time. Uh-oh. Some of the frosting is falling over on the side. All right, got the frosting on there. Now that I've done one of them, I'm a little bit more confident in my ability. I still want to be very careful. As you can see, I'm frequently wiping off icing on the side of the bowl because I gotta be careful that I don't over ice them. All right, there we go. Let's see, is the handle here? Yeah, it's still pretty hot. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna ice our chocolate cookies next. I think it's just me, but it feels like the light blue icing is actually a little bit easier to handle. It could be all in my head. I don't know. Something about this icing this one didn't come out right. Okay, I think that's about as good as we can go. We'll be able to clean up some of the issues on that cookie later. All right. Man, our kitchen is gonna need a nice big cleanup after this stream is over. We only were working in it for like 3 hours. Okay, last cookie. There we go. Okay. Well, this cookie did not come out nearly as good as it could have. I'll say that much. But we can still salvage it. Let me grab just another small plate. Now we can put this cookie on. Okay. Let's move this over here. Let's put the cat back on the black food coloring. There we go. Let's give our hands another quick little rinse. All right, last thing that we need to do is we need to draw the little images on the Kinda Funny cookie so they actually resemble the logos. Go, just wiping off a little bit of excess icing. Okay, let's start with the light blue ones. This one's real simple. All we got to do is we just got to add some white icing in and around them. I should probably go ahead and just put these a little bit more over to the side. There we go. All right, I'm going to try my best. Do I need to, oh, I think I need to actually prick these things open first. Okay. Let me grab the shears real quick. There we go. All right. The icing is not as thick as I was originally hoping it would be, but I'm also not like pumping it in as fast as I could be, so. All right. Not bad for the contour. Now the tough parts, we got to add the face and the eyes. Okay, gonna do my best. This did not come out well at all. Whoops. But let me see if I can kind of make up for it with the eyes. Yeah, that was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Oh well, let's move this guy over to the side. And let's give it a shot with cookie number 2. This time around, I'm not going to move the cookie around as I apply the icing. I'm just going to do it like this. All right. All right, not bad on the smile. Not bad on the eye. Not bad on the eye. All right. Second time's the charm. Not that bad. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's put the cat back on this thing. Oh, got to be very careful. Yeah, all right. I'm going to just try to be very careful in the way that I do this because I don't want to accidentally affect this wee cookie over here. Okay. So, the Kind of Funny Games logo, we got to be a little bit different. We're going to actually apply some red frosting for the D-pad eye. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that first. The red is more like a see-through red, so it doesn't really show up as well as it could, but it does the job. All right. Green is next. Where is our green? Here we go. We're going to add the green as like the directional button eye on the other side. All right, not bad. This one got a little bit screwed up, but that's okay. And finally, we have to add the mouth. Or rather, second to finally. So we got to open up this tube of yellow stuff. Snap it open. And we're going to do our best once again. And finally, for real this time, we got to add a light blue contour to these cookies, which we will do with this light blue gel. Don't worry, by the way, when I'm done with these cookies, I'll show them, I'll hold them up to the camera a little bit more so you can get a better view of them. All right. All right, it's okay on that one. Let's see if second time is the charm. All right, and that is that. Not gonna lie, don't look that bad. Could be better, but I think that we did the best that we could in the amount of time and expertise that we had on hand. Let's move the recipe image here out of the way. Let's just show these up to the camera a little bit so you can get a better view of what we made today. Not bad, not bad. All right. And with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to tonight's stream. I had a glorious time, and if you enjoyed the show, you better be sure to subscribe to me here on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Alex Kozina. That's AlexKozina. I'll be back not this upcoming Sunday, but the Sunday after that at 4 p.m. EST with another scrumptious and unusual food creation. But until then, I'm Alexander Kozina, and I want you to keep on cooking.